Hey, how are you? I see a change in the layout. I see myself in a square. I don't know if that's normal. Let me try to move something. Um, but yeah, hey, welcome back to this Global Hack Week. Um, okay, it looks like it is normal. Maybe if I change the layout here. Okay, yeah, that seems more like it used to. Well, let me know which one makes more sense to you, like the square with this background or full merely hacking background. But yeah, hello, my name is Alberto, and I'm your happy coach from Mexico. Um, Welcome to this Global Hack Week. I think this is day number, I don't want to lie, let me check so quickly. Uh, Day six. Yeah. So we are about to got to closing ceremony. I mean, just after me comes Carrie with the setting up an open source mobile project, and then Ryan Lay building quick documentation using Jamstack. Um, then we have closing ceremony with Rosendo and Jith tomorrow at 12 p.m. No, it's p.m. It's always confusing the to 12 time, but yeah, 12 p.m. ET time. Follow the agenda. I see some nice comments from the audience. Says Sparky's Recruit Student. Hello, everyone. Hello. Um, Cloud Life says, "Hey, everyone. Hey." Audrey says, "Hi there. Hi." Shimeri, how's that? Hello, Al. Widescreen. Yeah, I like more widescreen, to be honest. Day six. Oh, you're on top of that. Final day. Yeah. You have better idea than me of the agenda. That's incredible. It's 11 p.m. for me right now. For me, it's 9 p.m. So I'm guessing you're from any part of the U.S. Maybe. Um, 9 p.m. for you, Sparky Circuits. We share times, and then, yep, yeah, that's amazing. So let's get this started, don't you? Let me share my screen, and I'll put myself. Um, what? Maybe this. Yeah, I think this one it's better. Uh, Again, I was introducing myself. I'm Alberto. I'm your majorly hacking coach. I am student mechatronic engineer in a school here called Instituto Politécnico Nacional, IPN. I'm a GitHub campus expert. I'm a photography enthusiast, and I'm passionate about coffee. Let's this let's start with the topic, which is open source. And for the title of this session, you may be wondering, if I have currently a project, will learn how to improve it? The answer is yes. But if I don't know anything about open source yet. I'm just introducing myself to this beautiful world, or I'm thinking in start contributing, being a maintainer, or even host, or starting an open source project myself. Will this session will give me the basis for that? Well, the answer for that it's still yes. Let's go with what is open source as definition. And here it's a type of software whose source code is made available to the public, allowing to view, use, modify, and distribute copies of that modifications. Um, for example, talking about this type of software, we have private software, which is this you can identify because you only have access to the output to the application to the executable to just the resulting code of that the build, but not access to the source code. That's the private one. And there's another one which is also very important, and talking about a little bit of history, what was born before even open source, which is the free software. A brief history of this, it's that around the, I think it was 50s, 60s, there was a lot of development in software, right? But at some point, and this history starts in the university with, I will say, a character that anyone can recognize in photos, which is, oh my god, I just forgot the name. Richard Stallman, yeah, Richard Stallman, that had a project I don't want to lie, but I recently think I read that Richard Stallman was working in a lab about in artificial intelligence or something like that, like in the very early ages of the artificial intelligence development. But they have like this machine that all the time was needing to be repaired. So at some point, Richard Salman told the guys from the company, like, "Hey, why don't you give me the source code? Why don't you give me the tools? I can do this myself. I mean, I feel eligible to do this myself." But they refused. So Richard Stallman was like, why should I have to pay for the machine, pay for the software, and then go with all the maintenance and things that I can do myself. Um, yeah, Richard Stallman. Sorry, comment popped up, and I thought I needed to read it. Darn, you beat me. Oh yeah, Project Rocks, exactly. Plus one, yeah. So great thing do you have this in mind too, because there's startings of the free software, right? So these movement about the free software and the ideals of the software um, was born. Then the arrival of this and another great character, and one of the most influential people I think we have in life, and we have the fortune that still alive. Linus Torvalds started with the Linux project, and then combined ecosystems with GNU and things. And you know that story. But then at some point around the early stages of the 2000 or 98, I don't remember well, but the point is that someone coined the term of open source, which according to them uh, are sorry, which according to the free software people, there's no free software in there. This is funny because for open source community, I think they declare themselves more like pragmatic, right? This is better because we have or we have the ability to give uh, more checks on the code, like to distribute better copies, like to improve it, like for yeah, for very pragmatic purposes. And for the free software community, it's more like a matter of ethical values, right? Like things should be this way. Like you have to put a lot of heart and a lot of idealities and things like that. Like yeah, they care more about the context, not just the pragmatic things. And for open source, it's just like let's do it this way because this way the software can be better. So that's the big difference between these two. So the movement of the open source started to get more, how to say this, more pushed from the companies. Of course, because they were right. You have the ability or the benefits that with open source you can get a lot of benefits. So let's talk about that. Um, as an open source contributor, and not only for you don't have only the benefits as contributors. You have, as I talked, the benefits as companies, the benefits as developers using the open source, that not contributing but using it. You have a lot of benefits, but as a contributor, you gain knowledge, you gain community, you gain skills, and more and more and more and more. Let's put up a pin on that, but let's talk about the other ones. The company is starting to see and starting to put their faith in open source because they released versions like TensorFlow, for example, Google, React from Facebook, and well, the other bigger companies releasing open source project maintained by the people, uh, saying like, hey, this could be better if we change this, and paying developers to contribute to open source. And that's a big thing here, because unfortunately the other open source that it's not being paid for doing that, or not support or maintained with an economic thing, um, has more difficulties, to say in that way. For example, if you didn't know that, recently attack one hacking attack was attempted to the Linux kernel via a package, and via open source. And this attack is very interesting because they took time, like they took years of dedication to prepare this. In the whole context, one of the zip or compression packages base for Linux. Uh, I don't remember the name of this package, but one of the of compression, it's open source, and a person in internet, a random username, not an Alberto Camarena, but an Alberto 47, for example, or I don't know, Spider Monkey 99 or something like that. Um, a handle start contributing to this project, and the maintainer, the core maintainer, started notice this, started to give more trust, like say in somehow, to this person, until the point the previous maintainer, due to life, because it is hard for everyone, he was passing through a rough moment, and people were like, hey, we need to update this, we need to resolve these issues, we need to blah 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 blah. So they were pushing him to give access to the other person, the random guy in internet doing the contributions. He gave permission. Well, they were pushing him to allow him to be more involved in the project and be him the leader in this project. At some point, he did. At some point, the things in his life overwhelmed him, and give the access to the project, not like that fully, with some caution again, because this was a really sensitive topic. And apparently these anonymous, well, not anonymous, it's kind of hard, right? Because it's not anonymous, because it's always the same handle, but in real life you don't know who is this person. So um, this guy uh, inject some malware in the package, but not in the source code, like in the bundle of the test, like in a very, very creative way, to hide it from the eye of every people in the world, like almost every people in the world. But someone really realized of it, I think it was a tester, like a beta tester or something in a cloud. I don't remember which cloud. Don't want to lie. Um, but the point is that due to the time of downloading the package, this person was like, okay, that was like 5 milliseconds longer than they used to be, and start running some tests and start going like blah blah blah, and he realized that these package come with this malware, and it was a huge notice because this was very, very sensitive. Again, this could infect a lot of servers, a lot of computers in the world. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Sorry, unfortunately, fortunately, it didn't happen. Um, but yeah, that was through the power of open source, I think it's just a very interesting story to tell. Um, Let me see because I think I missed some comments here. Hi, says Abnav. Hello, developer AG. Linus Torvalds, yeah, exactly. MIT, home of the first hackers. Korean no more. Hi, I'm alive. The people were asking for you in my previous stream. Hi, Shem. Hi, Sparky. It's so great to see you. Yeah, we all missed you, but we're doing really important things. Yay. It's hopefully all coming to an end by October. I'm excited for that. And congratulations, mate. I really want to congratulate you for finishing your studies. How many points do I need to get swag from the Blades? So far, I have 8 points. Um, I'm not sure of this. I think someone in Discord can help you about that. But yeah, I will say ask more on Discord because I am not sure how many points you will have to ask for swag. Can hardly wait to hear. Amazing. Yeah, I think you're talking about 404. So let's continue with this. Um, we were talking about why open source. Well, here, for example, in merely hacking fellowship, we have an open source track, and I'm not sure if we still have it, but the last time I checked, we used to have an open source track, and I think that's one of the best interns I have ever seen, because you get the chance to work in a project that really, really matters. And I'm not saying that the others one doesn't. Um, there could be really cool projects to develop your abilities, to I don't know, make a portfolio, etc. But with open source, you're really contributing to real world problems, to software that will have impact on people. And learning for these real world projects, it's one of the main advantages of open source. Not only if you contribute, but you can study how real world problem changers works. Like you can go directly, for example, if you want to do your own front end library and go check how React works. I mean, I don't know what you would like to make your own front end library. If there's React and you can contribute to that, uh, but it's up to you. I mean, you can learn, and that's one amazing thing. Um, you can diverse your perspectives as developer, because not all the open source projects are equal, and some of them are lead for saying in some way differently than others, and seeing that behavior of the community, how to check that. And for example, if you don't have like working experience yet, and you're just graduating, or you want to start your development career, that could be an interesting to know, right? Like, if you have worked in open source, you have the full idea, and I will say even better idea than in working in a company. Some companies have terrible um, decision making and roadmaps on their software, and I don't know why, because they can inspire, they can take the lead on the open source projects and system, and well, that's a huge base to take from, right? Uh, the community, yeah, talking about the community, the connect with people and asking questions, why this is this way, why shouldn't we do this other way, why I don't know, why haven't we improved this, why I like the big questions can't be solved, can I mean, the community is there. If you give them, the community is going to give back. So uh, accessing a community from open source, it is great in terms of you grow a lot of as developer, but not only as developer. You grow a lot as human, because you're not programming. You need to talk with another humans, right? So you develop like this between quotes soft skills. But I know I'm not so agree with that term. I the skills for communication, for writing, for um, knowing how to talk with these other humans to solve their problems via, or I mean through code. And yeah, that community part, it's so beautiful. And well, you get the idea with the skills. So how to contribute, that's the big question here, right? I want to know from you, um, how many of you have contributed before to open source, and well, we will check, because some of you can further in the session realize that you have already contributed to open source, even if you didn't know. But the ones that are conscious about that, let me know here in comments, which projects have you contributed, what were your apportions that, like what you like about these contributions. Check out general chat in Discord to see the requirements for swag Sparky just posted. Hey, thank you, Dave Conrad. Thanks for the help in that. I will check for everyone who has the question that's seeing the stream, general chat, or the global hack week chat. Hack together. General chat. Make sure checking. Make sure you get check in today, so you're on. Yeah, you are on your way to earn swag. Follow the steps. Check in to Open Source Week. Fill out your address form. Complete the sponsors challenges. So I'm thinking you have to complete all the sponsor challenges. Yeah, you have to complete these tasks to earn swag. Thank you, Sparky. It's just about the stream. Hey, thank you so much for the shout out there. I'm working on a contribution to the Postis app project right now for Hacktoberfest. Amazing, and thanks for mentioning that, Shimeri, because if you don't know that, and if you didn't know that before, we are on October, that in software terms translates to Hacktoberfest, the open source month long celebration. So, and let's make a quick pause for sharing that. Usually, DigitalOcean sponsors this, but I'm not sure this year they do it. Yeah, I don't see any DigitalOcean. So, well, interesting. Hacktoberfest, a month-long celebration for all the things that comes to open source. Register and start contributing for pull request and merge request today. We have Preptember to prepare yourself. A sponsors award for 2024. Avid spotlights. They used to give t-shirts for contributing, and so a lot of people go hard on them, contributing for the first good first issues, something like that. But I think they changed that previous year. They stopped giving teas um, due to a matter of ecology. And I think that totally makes sense. Like, why should we pollute with all the shipping, the packaging, the blah blah blah? That's okay. That's so accurate. I agree no more. Participation, contribution. Yeah, I think this year they don't give swag anymore. Uh, but I don't want to like. I would like to check. Yeah, fuck. Do I get reward for participating? Aside from the knowledge you will gain and the fun you will have, you get a digital badge through holding to represent your participation in Hacktoberfest. As each of your board is you unlock a new level in your badge. Yeah, I think this is a good turnover, right? Because again, I was mentioning they used to give these teas, but a lot of pollution was involved there. So let's make digital. I'm super okay with this change. So here's the page of Hacktoberfest. Thanks a lot for sharing, Sparky. So cool, great, Shimori. I love you that you are working on this. I contribute to Malik's side. Yeah. That's cool. We will check that. Actually, I have something prepared for that. This is the page. Yeah, they give holding badges. Yeah, hello Pinayo. Let's check on that. I haven't heard of them before. Digital badges, but actually cool. Send me a whole pin. Just claim their Hacktober Fast register badge. Okay. Resources, use case, features, integration. That's interesting. Badges board. Last year they planted trees. When we finished the for March pull request, you can see my jalapenos from last year on my GitHub profile. Interesting. Let's do it. Let's check that. Let's GitHub Imari. Ouch. So Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, this is from last year. This is from this open source global hack week. Wow, really cool. Love your um, homepage, your readme. Yeah, want to see mine? I like to show mine too. Because I have this dancing Mona. I love it. Uh, Two are from this year, the rest from last year. They are beautiful. I love them. Okay, let's return. These are so cool. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So we were here. How to contribute? Yeah. Thanks for sharing for those one who are already contributing, and for those one who haven't. Here's a very short list on how to contribute. Right. The first thing I will say, and the most popular, sorry, not popular, important, it's to find a project that you want to contribute. This finding a project can be the most difficult part, in my opinion, and I've been through that. Um, so I give you some tips. The first one, it's here on Hacktoberfest, for example, a lot of repos, a lot of issues are marked with this label, good first issue. So they are intended for people to start working in open source project. Start looking for that on GitHub, browse them, and go scroll until you find something of your interest. And that's the second, follow your interests. For example, if you like computer vision, well, there's OpenCV for that. So there's a whole area, and so you can contribute, and not that only the big libraries. Like you can start contribute in small things, in small changes, and well, this start with small. That's something I mentioned this in below, right? Not always you have to be the super intense developer that solves the biggest issue that changed the world with code. No, that's okay. You can start small. You can start with things that you can say are improvements to the current work, and that's totally fine, but you need to find your passion, start understanding yourself, and be honest, like what, in which project I would like to work. And if you think that project it's huge, like for example this one again, I don't know, I like crypto and I could contribute to Solana, but I think Solana is so immense for me. I couldn't do a contribution to Solana because what do I know that I can contribute? There's a lot of ways to contribute. Start small, make a translation. You probably are as me, not a native English speaker. So you can translate some things to your native language, and that will be a great contribution. You can start documenting. You can make tests. You can, well, pause. We will talk about that. But yeah, start small and follow your interests. Look on GitHub and GitLab. The preference source of your choice. But yeah, let's say GitHub it's the bigger one. And join communities. This is the perfect excuse to start talking with more people about passions, about software, about things that you like. And in these communities, for example, mainly hacking, you will talk to a lot of great hackers that can tell you about another project that you can contribute to. For example, this one from Shimeri, uh, Postix app. So you can now say like, hey, that sounds cool. I can Google it. You can start looking for it, and why not? Like Shimeri, I can contribute, or this other one. And to Malik's side, Malik is another great hacker here from the community, and Spark is a good student, and him, and for what I know, another member are working on this project. So this, for example, it's a great project for the start about the community. They already have the community, so they now need to put these improvements I'm talking about from the open source project. Once you find it, let's say we find these. Um, this project, and actually I have it here. I had it prepared for us to check. This is the project they're talking about. It's Global Hack Week Link Manager, MLH Link Manager, and the intention of this is to be a source of truth, something like a link tree. Um, BRX is the other contribution to Malik's side. Yeah, uh, he took it to the next level. Yeah, exactly. So made by the Void. I'm thinking Void. It's Malik. Yep. Um, Sparky and BRX. Yeah, exactly. So they wanted to create a project that contains all the links to the global hack week. And for example, we have the schedule, and we can open it. We have the Submit challenge, the YouTube to watch all the recordings, the link to Discord, Twitch, the MLH main page, the fellowship, and of course the best projects from Way. Okay, this is a Rick troll. Okay, let me go back to this. Oh, it doesn't matter. We can change it. Rick roll, awesome. Yeah, exactly. So imagine we want to contribute to this project. How's the onboarding? Well, the first thing is to read the project's documentation. In this case, we we understand how this is the improvement, right? This project doesn't have a rhythm. So the next step will be start small. Again, you don't need to change the whole project. Actually, I will say it's rude to get to someone's project and start making big changes, right? Because it's like saying all the things and all the work you have done, it's wrong. Let me change. Let me correct it for you. And that's rude. Like, do you want you don't want it. Imagine someone arrives to your home and sees like all your furniture is on the wrong position. Let me rearrange it, and you will say like, why? I mean, like it works, right? I sleep in my bed, I rest in my couch, I eat in my dinner. Like, why you want to rearrange it? Well, same with code. If it works, why should you move everything? If it doesn't work, well, that's how you can start. Ask for help and be patient. Some of the open source projects, again, it's they are not maintained by professionals or people who are being paid for maintaining them. Um, some people have the fortune of live through open source. Some others don't. So for some, um, these are like side projects, are fun stuff they like to do because same as us, we love developing, we love software, right? So if you could make a pull request, you can raise an issue, you could send even an email, a message, Discord, but same as in every community, some are more active than others. For example, I'm in a custom keyboard server here in Mexico. We are less than 30 people. Um, and the last message was from months ago. Then I wanted to make some improvements on my keyboard. So I changed layout configuration. I changed some keys and do some stuff. The firmware for this was updated, so the whole project was tearing apart. So I asked for help, and honestly, I didn't believe that I will get a reply for at least 2 3 days. Um, but someone replied like one day after that. So I know we are used to immediate things to happen. I get someone can get so frustrated. Oh, I'm going to mute for a second. No. Okay. I was hearing some whistle, something like that. Here in Mexico, it's normal. We call them camotes, but it's very, very annoying if you are talking to some others in stream, right? Um, did you hear it? Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Um, but yeah, the point here is please be patient. Uh, no one owns no one else anything. So um, they can reply, they cannot. They can approve your pull request, they cannot, and that's it. That's the whole truth. Uh, I wish you the best of lucks, and I wish you to interact with the best communities. But in your way, you can find some communities that are not that good. Some communities that are more close. Some communities that are very passive and don't make a lot of changes, don't reply, don't talk. Well, move and find a community that better fits for you. For example, if you are hearing me and says like, "Oh, I would like that because in this community I am, a lot of people are talking all the time about a lot of stuff that I don't care about. I'll prefer." I don't know, like a mail list or something like more uh, relaxed. That's good too, and I don't blame you. Like sometimes I like that better. Um, it seems that most projects that I participate in Hacktoberfest have specific issues that you need to ask to be assigned to work on them. Yeah, some others work like this. That's, for example, the point of asking for help. So, we will get to that, Shimmer. Give me a second. I thought I hear quick brakes on a big truck. No, how this camotes works, it's like, you know the word. A camote in English, it's sweet potato, I think. Yeah, sweet potato. So they put them inside a chimney, but the chimney is built of metal, so they release these how to say vapor. Um, yeah. So when the pressure on the chamber it's big enough, they start whistling. So it's very hard and it's very annoying. It's to be honest, I haven't tried one in my life, but I think I don't like that. I just don't like sweet stuff, like things you have to put a lot of sugar on it. Not for me. But yeah, let's continue with that. So, this getting started, and this is the thing Shimari mentioned. You have to prepare to contributing doing the following: read the documentation, find, in this case you can find it, or you can create an issue. And remember, I told you about the be polite, don't be rude, don't arrive to someone's houses and say, hey, your furniture is looking the opposite direction of the sun, and that's not allowed. Like your bed has to be aligned to the sun, right? Uh, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can sleep in it. Well, I don't want to be rude. If someone think that's I think that matters. For example, here in Mexico, it doesn't matter. But okay. What the point of this? It's if you find something that doesn't work. For example, if you're using system to get tickets, and that's open source, and you discover that a button it's not working, you can create an issue. So once the issue is created, you can ask to be assigned to that issue. Some communities don't allow issues to be created just like that, so you will have to message like the community or the people involved, and they will create the issue, and you can say like, hey, I can help you with that, even here's the pull request, or here's the fork with the changes I made. I fix them, or otherwise find a way to make it work. You can check it, blah blah blah. Like, hey, here it is. You can check it. For example, let's return to this project. Two things. Let's create the issue. New issue. Title. Documentation needed. Hi, I love your project. I just would like it to have a read me or some documentation to get started on the on, on the project contribution. Exactly. So, if you're not familiar writing in Markdown, it's very simple. There are things like list, unordered list, um, tables, italic, this bold headings, etc. You can, for example, GitHub gives you this, so you can just click it. For example, this bolt. If I add one of these, this will be like an H1. If I add two of these, it will be like H2. This is an H3. H4, 5, blah blah blah. Right. So there are guides for Markdown. I recommend you. Oh, exactly. I love some proactive people here. Markdown guide or basic syntax. Thanks. Um, but yeah, once you get familiar with it, you will realize or make a mental image of how it looks. Fortunately, technology gives us the advantage of giving us a preview. In this case, I'm not adding anything, so no need for doing that. But for just dramatic purposes, I would like to add here to documentation and readme some highlights. So now we have readme documentation. um, yeah, we added this issue, right? So, I sorry, I think I missed something. Um, no, no, we're good. Yeah, we're good. So let's return to this. First, we'll try to read the documentation. There's no documentation. We find that the issue, so we create it, and the next step is to ask to be assigned to this one. Um, this could be a hard issue to be assigned because the main maintainer should be the one who creates the documentation. So let's find another thing to create an issue. Let's find another issue in this. Let's return to the project. And let's check the deployment. Okay, this is global hack week. I think an issue I could say because the rickroll for the best way project it's not an issue that's intended. Um, I need to do a scroll, like I need to do this. While if I change some styles here, I'm sure the gap could be less. Even removing the gap sounds good for me, for example, because uh, this is accessible and there's no much scroll. I want to clarify something. This is just uh, my personal taste. We can create this issue, but again, the part of being patient tell us that this could be approved or this could be discarded by the maintainers. For example, I have here Sparky Circuit, one of the maintainers, and he's saying, "Yeah, I like that." But again, the possibility, and this is not. I mean, saying this will not make it a reality. So that could be an option. I want this project to take this way, so I'm going to create an issue. Styles fix. I believe that removing gap between um, between um, elements can make it more accessible because of scroll reduction. Uh, I love this because it corrects my awful grammar. Um, and I will attach a screenshot of this. And how it was before. And let me just add that. But actually, I think these are vice versa. So yeah, this is not before. That's a great thing. We have the preview, isn't it? So preview, blah 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 blah. Nice, nice. So let's submit this pull request. Sorry, with this issue. Okay, so let's return to this. Nice, nice. I love Grammarly too. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I don't love Grammarly because Grammarly it's great just for English. This tool I have here, it's called Language Tool, and this is beautiful for all languages, Spanish, English. I once tried to learn Dutch, French. I mean, I try. Don't ask me anything in Dutch or French. But yeah, for these other two, it's just amazing. And it has like a Power AI tool that gives you not only corrections for grammatical, but synonyms, a lot of tools. They don't pay me nothing, but yeah, I really recommend your language tool. It's beautiful. But yeah, Grammarly it's great too. I don't want to to say bad things about that. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no worries. Workflow. First, we fork the rep. So let's do that. Now, we raise these issues. We know how it's done. Blah blah blah. We know they should add and README file, etc. But at this point, let's fork this. It has two forks, so one will be mine. Description. Copy the main branch only. Yeah. So let's create that fork. It's forking. So while it loads, let me open my terminal and clone this on my local computer. Fork the repository, sorry, I didn't explain that, means creating a copy of that repository, but for your GitHub account. Because at this point, Malik, uh, Abi Malik 99, was the one that owns the project. So that means I cannot make any change in that. I cannot add branches and cannot add my code. I cannot do anything unless they give me access to that. That could be another option. That's okay. But in this case, imagine that I don't know Malik, I don't know Sparking, and I don't know BRX. So I like the project, I see some potential, I like the community, I would like to contribute. So I fork it, I come here, sorry, CD developer L. This is Global Hack Week OS. Here what I have, git example. So git clone and the code for me, local SSH. This is me that. So code um, call Hegwig. Nice. So we fork the repo, we clone repo. That means making a copy of this forked, but for your local machine. In this case, here it is, and it's big, so you can see it. Um, this is the sorry, the clone, right? So this is the project living on my local machine. Uh, we need to create a new branch because we don't want to work in main. That's not a good practice. Creating a new branch is the practice for open source because it keeps your change separately, right? So we open this, git branch. There's only main. Okay. Um, git checkout minus or flag b, however you want to call it. This will be fix styles, and now I'm in the branch fix styles. Um, this naming convention, um, it's one I follow normally in my personal projects, in work. It can change depending on the project you're working on. The good practice is that the project that wants to be contributed give you these kind of naming conventions, commit messages, all the standards you have to follow. If they don't give it to you, well, just try to follow your best practices, your personal best practices. What I mean with this, um, it makes no difference between the double tap or the four spaces, for example. You know what I mean? Like, it's a matter of preferences. If you get the condition structure, then in the same line the opening square bracket, then your code, then the closing square bracket, or condition, then in another line you open the square bracket, then your code, then close the square bracket. It's up to you. Like, there are things that I, as developer, you like or you will prefer. um, if the project demands a specific style, because for example, in my work I make the linter and the whole setup for the project. So we have an ESLint and things like that, but we take, I will say a day, but it was more than a day. We take some time as the coding, as the developer team, to talk about this, to set the rules, to talk if it was a problem to have trailing commas, for example, single, how to say this, double quote or single quote, these kind of things. It's up to you as developer. And when you work in a personal project, it's your problem. If what I don't recommend, it's having like this messed up code when in some variables are called in Pascal case, some others with snake case, some others just a single letter, uh, working with strings with double quote, then working with strings with single quote. No, that's not healthy for you. And if you do that, please don't. What I mean, it's you have your standard. You like to work with single quote, or you like to work with double. You like to add double. How to say this? You like to add end of line every file, and you do it constantly in every file you have. You have your own ESLint rules. You know how to name variables. That's up to you. That's your conventions. But when you work with more developers, things start to get complicated. to say it somehow. What I mean, it's these kind of rules should be established for every project to work on, for every community. If they don't have it, just follow good your good principles. But again, don't mix things. Don't do single then double. Don't call variables one way then another. Just consistency of code, clean code, and that's all. In this case, since it doesn't have a README, it doesn't have like instructions on how to call things like conventions to follow. I will try to follow my own conventions, right? So, fixed tiles. I checked that this is the file that I wanted, and I already checked that the problem was a gap, right? So I will check this gap and I will just remove it. I will run the project in order to see that that change perfectly fits for the things that I want. And for doing that, I have an extension of Visual Studio, which is live. No, uh, no, it's not live share. Um, what's the name of this? Oh, I don't remember it. Uh, live server. Yeah, here it is. Open with live server. No, this is not the one. Come on, I asked you to open it with live server. Maybe it needed to restart. Hmm. Okay, I will reinstall it. Okay. Don't know why. Really don't know why this happened to me. I'm trying to live code and suddenly live server doesn't work. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll do this the old way. Copy path in my here. I can open it. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so this HTML delivers nice. So I say this is a humble contribution. Again, start small, and we're ready to follow next step, which is make changes, run changes locally, test them, commit them, and push them. So let's do that. We change the style, git add that, um, git commit, uh, make list gap shorter to prevent scroll. And git push. Nice. Let's close this. Let's close this. Now, once I push it, it's on my local fork. So I will compare these pull requests and create. Sorry, I will compare these changes and create a pull request to the base repository, which is the Malik's one. This is my repository, Alberto 47, and this is Malik's one. So in this case, my branch with the changes is fixed styles. In probably you won't be doing this to the main, but this is a smaller project. So let's and there is no other branch. So let's do it to the main branch. The title of this is make a list of get the commit message. But let's take a second to review some things. Pull requests. Fill in a pull request template. Most projects of open source provide you with a pull request template. The tip I give you is don't skip or delete anything in the template. There are some marked as optional. Well, for you, if there's in the template, fill it, complete it, do it with most detail you can. Uh, I swear that that's very good practice. Every project is unique, and each one has its own pull request template structure and requires a specific information to be provided. However, uh, projects typically require the following: title, description, related issue, and a screenshot or recording of what you changed, especially if you're um, changing some UI, like in our case, right? Um, Sorry, I already spoiled you. But yeah, in this case, since they don't provide to us a template, we are going to complete these four. So let's do that. Remember, title. Uh, yes, I messed up putting two X in a template on a pull request and they deny it. Yeah, put a lot of attention on that. So Shimari knows this pain. Title. Do you have to type title? Yeah, you can do it, but let's make this classy. Um, Title H1 style fix. Description: change the gap. Changed? No. Reduced the gap between list elements to prevent scrolling. Related issue. Issue. Which issue was this? Let me check. Number 4, style fix. And screenshot of the changes before, after. And we already had that. What do you mean with one in shot? Uh, style things reduced together. I'm not familiar with that expression. Could you explain, Shimmery? Sorry. Oh yeah, yeah. Shoot, yeah. You're right. Thank you so much. One O in shot. Ah, sorry. I'm not only not. Uh, yeah, yeah. I don't know where my head was. Sorry. Screenshot. Yeah, of the changes. So let's check this preview. Stylefix reduce the gap between list elements to prevent scroll. The issue was this I erased, and this a screenshot of the changes after. Nice. So that's how we want it. Let's take a look again. Title, description, relate. Okay. In this case, we create our own template. They didn't provide to us any, but that's cool. So let's do it, and let's create the pull request. Ooh, nervous, isn't it? It's late. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, don't worry. We are about to finish. So you can rest, and me too. Malik is going to be thrilled about all of this. Yeah, I hope. It's a shame he's missing it. So we have the pull request, we have the issue. I want to check something here on the issue. Yeah, I mentioned this issue now, but it's weird because I was hoping this to update. Okay, no worries. No, it doesn't matter. Now we created our issue, and now remember this big important part I mentioned before? Be patient. That's all. We follow the steps, we find the project, we onboard ourselves to this project, we prepare for contributing. That's the same you're doing here. We follow the workflow, we fork the repository, we clone the repository, we create a new branch, we make the changes, we test it, we commit it, we push it, we pull request it, and inside the pull request, we give the best practices. That next thing to do is wait until the maintainers give us green light or red light. Maybe we are required to make corrections. Maybe the maintainers don't like our suggestions. Maybe they even did not reply at no point in history. um, Communication in internet, it's asynchronous despite what people think. Like the people who get mad for not replying to a message, it's like, dude, if you have urgency, call me. Well, that's my point of view. Of course, I am not the newest generation. In 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 dangers of sounding like a boomer. How can I optimize my open source project for better performance? In this case, Kabi-san, um, I would like to know if you refer performance like in a technical level. It will completely depend of your technical stack. I mean, if you're meaning, for example, you have a web page and it's open source, how you can improve it. Well, for example, if you do um, how to say this, video, image, well, you can try with a CDN. You can try the latest changes in the browser about the DOM. That's a criticism about React, right? For example, when I started learning React, people were like, "Oh, virtual DOM is super cool because you don't have to modify the full DOM, just the changes that you want goes inside it, blah blah blah." But then they released. What's the other one? I don't remember the name now. The newest. Oh my god, I forgot the name. Svelte. Yeah, I think it's Svelte. And they were like, no, no, no. The virtual DOM is dead because it's double work. In this case, you've just modified the DOM directly, and it's like, what? It was the the performance optimization of React. Like, why it should be better directly? Okay. Yeah, I need to understand what you mean with performance and optimize the open source performance project. If you mean, for example, how to make people like work in a well, this is optimization of performance, like improve the workflows, have all these good practices, give them guidelines, have a good readme or documentation about the project so they can avoid asking you and waiting for the feedback of the message. Like if you just paste it and post inside the project the guidelines, the where you want the project to go, which is the project aspiration. And this is not only need to be defined by you. If you work with some other maintainers, if the community is growing, you can all get along and discuss these topics. And for the next person to join, it will be a lot easier for him or for her to understand your perspective and to better contribute to this project. For example, in this, I assume a lot of things about. In this example, I assume a lot of things about the project. But also, I talked with the maintainers and we discussed like what they wanted to do, which was the inspiration, and what they wanted the project to be. And that's a thing that it's not on the repo. I know that because I talked to them. You can optimize your open source project by declaring these, making these statements, making these non-negotiables, giving the developers the guidelines. If you want to pull requests, this is the template. If you want to participate in code, um, these are the conventions, the naming of the commits, the naming of the messages, the variable naming, the ESLint rules. These are blah 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 blah. This is the automations we are going to follow. We need help on this. We need help on that. You can open yourself issues because who better knows the project than you, and you can say, okay, we need to make this. I have no time. Either of the maintainers have time. So who is ready for do this? Do it. We will appreciate it a lot. And that's a very, very good open source project performance. So following all these steps I just give you in the slides, like having these good practices, it's how you improve your open source project, not only as a contributor, maintainer, but person who's hosting the project, right? So I hope I answered satisfactory your question. And I want to close with something. I just give this project, this beautiful open source project we are starting in the Majorly hacking community, a small contribution, a small code contribution. Because let's face it, I have to know some technical things to make that. If you're learning just HTML, if you're learning just JavaScript, if you're learning CSS, or even if you come from another world, from Python, for example, from iOS developing, from mobile, from Java, from C, for video games, for whatever reason you're doing C, um, and you want to, and you really like a project, you can contribute in many, many ways. Code contributions are one of them. Yes, write new code, box fix, refactor some code, and again, this is delicate. Uh, don't rearrange someone else's furniture if it looks good. Not only for I lack of vocabulary to say this, but not because you don't like it, because you have strong reasons to change it, to improve it. So code refactor can be a good code contribution if the code's needed. API design, maintenance, feature developing, performance optimization. Like for that's why I was asking you about this Kawiyasam, because sometimes code can be optimized. Um, Not all developers know about complexity, time complexity, and this kind of software concepts. So we can optimize their code and doing the same, but in less time. That's optimization. If you don't do the same, if you do more, that's not optimization. I will say that's how to say it, an update. But yeah, and the last one, the testing and quality assurance. I bet there are thousands of project, open source project there that doesn't have tests because not much people do tests. That's sad, and I know. But testing your code is very important. Go there and start testing other people's code, and you will see you will be 10 times better developing uh, in a matter of months, because even if understanding sometimes your code it's complex, imagine understanding someone else's. But yeah, the other part I wanted to share, and I think it's very important, is that you can contribute more than in just code. You can contribute in non-code contributions, with documentation, with graphic design, with content creation. And I know this list seems short, but you can contribute with ideas, like talking in the community, saying, "Hey, what about this? What about that?" Um, creating issues like I don't know how to fix it, but I think this is a problem, and I would like this to be resolved. I will change this other thing. The development and the evolving of the project, it's in your hands when you're talking about open source, and I think that's one of the greatest features about this type of software. I have a comment here about the Shimari. Um, I felt like a silly contribution last year. Open Source was looking for pizza recipes to one of their repos. So many ways to contribute. uh, that's amazing. You mentioned, you just mentioned something I wanted to talk about. You mentioned open source, and I'm really glad you know them. But if you don't, you realize that I have this tab here since we started. And I wanted to give you this education.github.com experiences intro to open source. I will paste it here, and here it is. What's in here? This is path for the GitHub education team to get you started on open source. And they have resources from open source, for example, to the intro to open source course. Many of, I mean, all of this session was inspired in this course they have. It's very beautiful. They talk about this, but wider. So if 1.5 hour was too fast for you, you can check it in more detail. Go ahead and check this. It's beautiful. What comes next? The Become a Maintainer course. And they have even a video of why open source. These open source guides, it's just beautiful. The label I talked to you about, the good first issue for where you're starting in contribution. They have videos talking about the vocabulary in open source. If I mention something that doesn't make sense for you, I'm sorry. You can ask them, and I'll be happy to explain. But you can always check this material from the GitHub Education team. They have even open source Fridays, the README podcast. Go check this if you were looking for a podcast to hear on your way to home or to work. It's really cool. The benefits, we talk about this on my previous session. We talk about the Git Kraken and the Travis CLI, and of course GitLens. Beautiful, beautiful extension. And the open source team, again, it's have an offer for you. You can use open source to enhance your open source journey by helping you to find interesting repositories to match your academic and personal interests. So, a great tool if you haven't heard of it. Thanks, Shimmery, for bringing it up. And I just want to close with the most important things I want you to have from this session. Identify your goals and and your interests, and start contributing. Don't put more excuses. You know how. You just know how. You don't have more excuses. I want you to start contributing. Another thing I want you to do is to connect. Connect with people. Talk to them. Maybe a beautiful open source project can born for that. Um, if not, you can contribute to existing ones. You can simply share, and that's next. Share, share this stream if you like it with someone you think it can help with. Someone who's starting in open source, who wants to start, who already is a great open source maintainer. Um, I don't know, like just share with the community. That's the big part of this. And finally, keep learning. Like open source, it's a great opportunity not only to be a better human. I will repeat that, but to increase your skills, to make you a better professional. Really, I swear, it's beautiful the amount of things you can learn from these projects. Reading a lot of, you have access. I mean, to a lot of high quality code, and you have access not only to reading but really to interact with it, and it's just incredible. I think but yeah, that's the things I want to share with you, people. So I would like to go to um, Q&A. Oh no, this. So Q&A. Oh no, oh, again. Um, I don't remember which one was the white. Okay, this helps. So, any questions about what we talked? If you don't have, I have one. Shimmery. Um, which pizza recipe did you contribute? Like, what was your pizza recipe? If I have to imagine a pizza recipe, um, I am a big pizza fan. Of course, as many of you, I can tell. Um, and I like pizza salty, like, let me look for the names in English because I always end up confusing the names. I like pizza with
Anchovies.
oh
Anchovies.
anchovies. Didn't know that translation. Anchovies and capers,
Capers.
capers. Anchovies and capers. Very salty, isn't it? Um, hmm. Anchovies in Spanish are anchoas, so kind of makes sense. Um, Hmm. If I remember it right, it was a double crust white pizza recipe and also a shrimp and hot pepper pizza too. Right? Oh, okay. That's interesting. I like white pizza, but I don't know. Like, I don't feel it like pizza. At first, I was very, like, I refused to admit it was pizza. Like, pizza should have tomato. I don't know, but yeah, with the time and with the great flavor it has, I ended up accepting it. How do you? Okay, I already read that. So, in no more questions. I think we're ready to go. Thanks a lot for joining me for this session. That was great, Alberto. Thank you for the. Oh, sorry. That was great, Alberto. Thank you for your part in encouraging me to take my first steps into open source with Malik. I've gotten a lot out of it. Thanks. Thanks a lot. And I hope to see more of these open source project, not only for this week, for the coming. Remember, people, if you're watching this and you want to start with a great project, here's the link. github.com/abimalik99 slash global hack week mail hacking manager. um, and you can do the same as me. Start using the tool, start see what can be improved, what's wrong, what can we add. Maybe we can add a logging system. Not required, I will say, because it will have to be like painful to log to see the links. But maybe we can add a system to log in, and then when you log in, the links rearrange based on your recently used. That's an idea. Make it real. Huh. Thanks for the session. Thanks, Alberto. Always great streams. No, thank you. Thanks all for sharing and being here. Audrey, Sparky, Shimari, uh, Kibasam. I see the grade 404. I don't know if it's with us till this point, but it was a pleasure to have you all here. So we are ending up Global Hack Week, Open Source Week. Um, Stay tuned for Carrie's stream. It's starting tomorrow, 8 a.m. ET time, setting up an open source mobile project. So, bye bye. See you around.